everyone knows tennis by the highlights.
Takes the biscuit. Oh, hey! You won't see that very often. Extraordinary.
You see the US Open final. You see some big shots from Wimbledon. You, maybe if you're lucky, catch clips of Nadal or Novak crushing a forehand at Indian Wells. Or Miami, maybe. But here's the thing. What almost nobody knows, unless you're a tennis nerd, is just how insane the calendar is. The grind, the travel, the burnout. The schedule is a monster that devours bodies, minds, and passion year after year. And almost no one outside the sport really understands it. So today, we're gonna pull back the curtain and show you the one thing nobody knows about tennis. You are never off, you're always traveling, and the sport burns you out. And real quick, if you like this channel, if you agree with some of our hot takes and disagree with others, you might as well hit that subscribe button. We are getting so close to 10,000 subscribers, and that's been a dream for us. So hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, hit the bell notification, and we will keep on pumping out content for you guys. All right, let's get into it. So let's start by taking a look at what the non-tennis fans see. For most Americans, tennis season equals US Open, maybe with a little Wimbledon sprinkled in there. You'll hear the majors, Grand Slams, the Masters sometimes, but those are just the tip of the iceberg. If you aren't following tennis closely, you might not even know there is a tour with a schedule from January through November. You might think pros rest a lot between tournaments. Spoiler, they don't. Most fans see and remember only the big events with the biggest players. The rest is white noise. But behind that gloss, there's a brutal road trip, and most people have absolutely no clue it even exists. So here's where things get wild. The ATP Tour men's circuit is built around 3 levels, plus the Grand Slams, which are run by the ITF. In recent seasons, the ATP calendar features, take a guess at how many ATP tournaments you think there are a year. We'll give you time. All right, what did you say? 20, 30, maybe 40? Well, you're close, but not close enough. The ATP calendar features 60 tournaments per year across 29 to 30 countries. The 2026 calendar, for example, includes 59 tournaments, not including the slams. In 2025, it's similar, 60 tournaments in 29 countries. The Masters 1000 tier alone has 9 events. That's almost 1 per month. And the 500 tier has 16 tournaments in 2025, giving some flexibility, but also pressure to compete. And the 250 tier? 30 or more events. When you add in Davis Cup, Laver Cup, team events, challengers, ITF level tournaments, futures, the total number of tennis events globally is even higher. It's in the hundreds, but we'll focus just on the main tour for now. So these 60 plus tournaments, that's not a few events spread out. That's in every week or nearly every week machine running, spread across nearly every month. So if you have 60 tournaments and the season spans from early January to early December, that works out to about 5 tournaments per month on average, ignoring overlaps, varying length, etc. That's the baseline assumption. You're always playing, always preparing, always moving. It's not like baseball, 162 games stretched over 8 months, or the NFL clearly bounded season. Tennis is 11 and a half months of calendar with only small downtime. And the tournament length, it's not decreasing, it's growing. It's not just more tournaments. Many tournaments are expanding in duration. Starting in 2025, the Canadians and Cincinnati Masters expanded to 12-day events, aligning with several other Masters. Already, many Masters 1000 events, Indian Wells, Miami, Madrid, Shanghai, etc., are run over more days. The 2026 calendar again shows 7 of the 9 Masters being 12-day events. That means some tournaments themselves demand you to stay in that city, on site, for nearly 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks of training practice, travel, matches for one event. Compound that over 9 Masters and multiply across 60 tournaments, it's unbelievable. The travel hell.
That ear-piercing scream is an unruly child on a transatlantic flight to New York.
Tennis looks pristine, gorgeous, exciting, and luxurious in a lot of instances. And there are tons of tournaments. But that's only half the brutal reality. The other half? The travel. You're constantly hopping continents, time zones, surfaces, climates, all while trying to train, recover, and perform at peak levels. You may, for example, finish a tournament in Europe and a few days later be in North America for another. Change clay to grass to hard in weeks, adjust to altitude, humidity, jet lag, local food, climate, facilities. You might have to fly overnight, sometimes with less than ideal connections, lugging your gear, sleeping in transit, managing logistics, physio, coaches, travel paperwork, visas, etc. And it's not relaxing. There's little downtime. Your body is constantly under stress, not just from matches, but from movement and change. And unlike team sports, you often travel without a full entourage, or with a very small team at the most. The margin for error is minuscule. And this is where the human cost comes in. Burnout is real. You might think pro athletes are machines, but they fatigue, they burn out, they mentally check out. And tennis, more than almost any sport, is uniquely vulnerable to it. Here's what players have said. Zverev, after a disappointing Wimbledon, admitted he felt extremely lonely.
It's funny, I feel very alone out there at times. I struggle mentally. I've been saying that I've struggled since after the Australian Open. Just don't know.
Madison Keys has spoken openly about mental health therapy, the invisibility of the struggle in tennis, and how burnout is a threat. Players like Alex de Minaur have publicly called for the schedule to be shortened.
The moment that I felt, I wasn't ready to compete, that was kind of warning lights for me. And so I feel like over the last 2-3 years, there's been a lot of pressure that I put on myself to get the most out of myself and keep breaking barriers and break into the top 10 and focusing almost week in, week out on those rankings, whether I win points here, I defend points here, kind of who's going up, who's going down. It all ended up taking a big mental toll.
And even top players like Alcaraz have publicly complained that they're gonna kill us with this schedule. In short, burnout is not some hypothetical scenario for the minority of players. You hear often of players fatigued or pulling out of tournaments citing injury, fatigue, physical issues, so be it. A lot of that is accumulated wear. Micro-injuries, lingering niggles, joints, muscles, tendons, etc. Many top players are forced into skipping tournaments, withdrawing mid-match, or even retiring early because their bodies can't sustain the load. And don't forget the mental fatigue just compounds physical fatigue. You live in hotel rooms, you manage pressure, you rarely get full off time. Sleep is disrupted by travel, jet lag, unusual hotel arrangements, changing time zones. Nutrition, recovery protocols, physiotherapy, mental coaching all have to be squeezed in around matches, travel, and rest. It's a pressure cooker, ready to blow. Now, we don't think any other sport demands this kind of year in, year out, individual grind at this level of travel and performance. Team sports, team American sports more specifically, NBA, NFL, MLB, even soccer, have defined off seasons, well-structured rest periods, media breaks, preseason, etc. Endurance races like cycling, triathlon are punishing, but many athletes pick and choose key events. They often have seasonal peaks and breaks. Golf is somewhat comparable, but golf tournaments are spread over the year, and a golfer can skip events more flexibly, take time off, manage schedule, especially the top players. But tennis demands, for ranking reasons, that you play mandatory events, defend points, accumulate rankings, meaning you often cannot skip. You must show up or be penalized. And the surface, geography, timing variation is extreme in tennis in a way few sports match. So why do most people not see this? Well, media focuses only on majors or big name stars, not the grind between them. The storylines are about big tournaments, big matches, champions, upsets, and tennis organizations, broadcasters, social media highlights only glamour moments, not the fatigue, not the behind the scenes collapse. So the general public doesn't see the thin margins, the dropouts, the heartbreaks, the forced withdrawals, the fatigue. They see highlights, which creates a distorted image. To make sense of how players get trapped in this scheduling, let's talk about ranking and tournament obligations. So the way the ATP ranking system is built is so that players must defend points year to year or risk large drops. That forces many to replay tournaments even if physically they want rest. So top players have commitment tournaments. So you can't simply pick and choose. You are kind of locked into a portion of the schedule. Once you miss events, your ranking suffers, making entry into big tournaments harder. And because so many tournaments exist, overlapping surface transitions, gaps are small. There's rarely a luxury of long rest. Here's a sample of what a player might experience. Dramatized, but built on real instances. Experience. You step off a plane in Madrid, 2 hours of sleep. You have a practice session in the afternoon, physio, hitting, fitness work. Tomorrow, you play your opener. After match, you get ice baths, recovery, band work. But you have to leave the next morning for North America, Cincinnati or Toronto. You pack, board a flight late, sleep on the plane, wake up in a new city, light session, acclimate, eat something you hope agrees with you, then play. If you lose early, you ride the stress of having traveled for nothing except fatigue. You carry injuries, tightness over weeks and weeks. Meanwhile, your brain is churning. Points to defend, expectations, sponsors, how many tournaments left, where's your ranking at, how to peak at majors. You haven't seen your family in months. You're tired, you have no real off time, and you have to do this for 10 to 11 months straight. This schedule advantage also favors those with strong support teams, physios, nutritionists, mental coaches, depth, which amplifies inequality. In short, the schedule doesn't just demand effort, it breaks you. So what's the one thing nobody really knows? It's not the forehands or epics or love 40 comebacks. It's that the schedule itself is the toughest opponent a player faces. The grind, the travel, the physical, mental squeeze all year long. That is the hidden battle. When you watch a big match, the story is rarely just about skill. It's about who can hold up under months of strain. Who can survive the schedule? Who can still find fire when fatigue is screaming? The real drama is hidden behind the scenes. But what do you think? Is the tennis schedule just part of the game? Or could the ATP and WTA make some adjustments? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.